Hi, my name is Isabel Lopez, and today I'll be presenting to you about the best market goat breed in Texas. Now, first things first, I'm gonna let y'all get to know about me a little bit. I'm from Agua Dulce, which is about 20 minutes from Kingsville. I currently am attending Texas A&M University Kingsville. My classification, I'm a junior. I'm currently majoring in general agriculture science with a teaching certification. That's a little out there, but um, I love my major so much. My future aspirations, one of my scholastic goals, I guess, is I am wanting to graduate with my bachelor's either by the time I turn 21 or maybe a little bit after. Probably not before, that's not very realistic, but maybe. And once I graduate with my bachelor's, I'm thinking of going for my master's, but I definitely am wanting to work as an agriculture science educator at the high school level and maybe be an FFA advisor to a chapter at whatever high school I decide to work at and start my adult life. um, Now, the purpose of me writing this technical report, it was to learn more about an industry that I have had experience in. When I was in from 8th grade to my senior year in high school, I raised and showed market wether boar goats, or boar goats that were castrated. Wether means castrated, and I showed them, and I was able to do that because I was an FFA and I took agriculture classes when I was in school. I showed at the local county shows like Nueces County, which Aguilosa is located in, and I was also able to show at the state livestock shows such as the Houston Livestock Show and the San Antonio Livestock Show as well. Now, when you raise and show market livestock as a student through either FFA or 4-H or sometimes both, you learn how the market industry works and you essentially become an entrepreneur because if you make it to auction, you have to sell your project or your livestock that you raised and showed. Now, I've only have worked with boar goats and I have not had any experience with the other market goat breeds that I will discuss later in this presentation. So I've only had experience with boar goats. I haven't had experience with Spanish, Kiko, Myotonic, or Nubian. Now you're probably wondering, what is the market industry in Texas? It consists of processing of livestock that are raised and fed for market or carcass value. And they can be cattle, poultry, lambs, goats, and swine, to name a few. Now, the carcass value, carcass cuts for cattle, steaks, poultry, chicken, lambs, lamb chops, swine, usually bacon, just examples of the carcass cuts. And both livestock breeders and livestock showmen or students who purchase, raise, and show market livestock at the county livestock shows, they all play a huge role in the market industry at different levels and different stages. Now, there is a lot of money that is always being made in the market industry alone. It's very important. There are a lot of both edible and non-edible products and byproducts that are made from processing livestock animals for market. So, I mean, they don't waste when the livestock goes to get processed, they do not waste anything. They always make sure that to find a use for pretty much anything and everything that they can get from the livestock. Now, what market goat breeds are in Texas? Which ones are we going to be talking about? I will be discussing the boar goat breed, Spanish goat breed, Kiko, Myotonic, and the Nubian. And now the criteria for comparison, we have weather temperament, which is going to mean how well the breed can adapt to weather changes or parasites, etc. Because you definitely would, it's a good idea to pay attention to how the breed can handle either hot weather or cold weather, but mainly hot weather, especially here in South Texas. If it gets cold, it usually only stays cold for like 3 days and then it's hot again. Parasites as well, that's something that is good to be concerned about, but you should always be deworming your herd as needed and just monitor them when they're grazing out in the field. Now, meat production is going to be the amount of carcass that you can pull from the breed after processing. And this will be measured in an average because not every animal's frame is exactly the same. Now, the cost is going to be how much the breed costs, either buying a breeding ram or doe or just purchasing a kid or a baby goat. I usually just purchased a kid. I never really went the whole like breeder, starting my own herd route, mainly because I showed two, I raised and showed two goats at the same time. That was very challenging. After that, I just stuck with one because I wanted to give attention as much as possible to one animal at a time. Now, the feed to gain is going to be how much weight the breed gains based on how much feed is consumed daily. Now, that's usually measured by keeping records and just marking down how much you're feeding the livestock, how much you're feeding the goat during each feeding, and weighing them in the morning before you actually feed them. Now, the Boer goat, coming from South Africa, it was imported to the U.S. in 1993. It usually has over 45,000 heads registered annually. Now you can see it has the sturdy frame, and it's considered a market industry ideal. It has a large frame, sprung ribs, a deep chest here, and a wide top line, all with a fleshy appearance, as you can see. And it usually has a white coat, which is the body. Usually a white coat with a brown head, as you can see, and it has long drooping ears. You can get them dehorned, but usually they're going to have horns, and it has a long muzzle and a fleshy neck. Now, for colors, it's always going to have a white body. Sometimes they'll have like black as the color on their head instead of brown, but it's not usually common. Now, for the weather temperament, it's very tolerant of hot climates, but it's not the most parasite resistant. So that's something that you want to keep in mind. Now, for meat production, it can be pulled from 40 to 50 pounds of carcass product averaged for this breed. The cost is going to be lowest $500 and up. So, and it is a popular breed, like I think I've already stated that. Very popular. And the feed to gain is going to be a 1/4 pound gain from 1 to 2 pounds of feed per day. So market industry ideal. Is cheap, looks very, very pretty. It's not parasite resistant. That's something that kind of sticks out a little bit. Now, the Spanish goat was brought to the U.S. in the early 1500s from the Spaniards, and then by the second half of the 1800s, most of the Spanish goats in the U.S. were crossbred with Boer goats to increase meat production in the market industry. Now, it's larger framed than Boer goats. And the ears, as you can see, they face more towards the front of the head instead of drooping straight down. And they can come in pretty much any color. So black, brown, tan, red. And the horns, they twist and face outwards rather than curve downwards like the Boer goat. Now, the weather temperament, it's tolerant of hot climates, and it is the most parasite resistant. So when it's being crossbred with the Boer goat, their offspring, it inherits the hardiness from the parasites, and it's actually like a better idea to crossbreed them if you don't want the full-on Spanish goat. Now the meat production is roughly the same as the boar goat, and like I said, it's often crossbred with the breed. Now the cost is going to run you from $300 to $350. The does, breeding does are more expensive than the bucks, so just something to keep in mind. The feed to gain is going to be a 1/4 pound gain from 1 to 2 pounds of feed per day. So almost the same as the boar goat, but looks very different. Now the Kiko goat, it was created by Garrick and Anna Batten in the 1980s. And they crossed the Saanen, Toggenburg, and the Anglo-Nubian goats, all three together. They wanted to create hardy goats that can survive the cold terrain and the climate of New Zealand. And this breed was imported to the US in 1992. It can come in different colors like solid white and cream, and can have different colors like darker colors from genetics, just selective breeding. Now the horns, you can see they grow long and twist backwards, so that's cool. And now the weather temperament, they're tolerant of hot climates, and they are pretty much the same parasite resistance as the Spanish goats. The meat production is roughly the same as the boar goats, and it competes very closely. As you can see, it's large frame, so that's a lot of carcass right there. And the cost is going to be from $500 the lowest to upwards of $1,500. So a little pricey, but still a very good option for a market goat. Now the feed to gain, like I said, is the exact same as the boar and the Spanish, with a 1/4 pound gain from 1 to 2 pounds of feed per day. Now the myotonic, this one, it's also called the wooden leg goat or the Tennessee fainting goat, and this breed is unique among the other market goat breeds in Texas because the myotonic, it means when they get excited or scared, their joints basically lock up or tense up and they fall over or faint. Now the origin of this breed, it's not like blatantly determined, it's still being debated. Now with it being deep chested, and it can come in multiple colors. As you can see, most of the breed, it comes in black and white, but it can be multicolored. That's a possibility. This breed is considered rare by the American Livestock Breed Conservancy, only because the breed population is under 10,000. And it's often crossbred with the boar goat, and the fainting gene, luckily it's recessive, so it doesn't show up in the offspring that it comes from being crossbred with the boar goat. Now the ears, as you can see, they're more upright and less droopy, and the coat can be long and shaggy or smooth and short depending on genetics and selective breeding. Now the weather temperament, it is tolerant of hot climates and it's parasite resistant. And the meat production is roughly the same as the boar goat, but it is smaller framed. So it is a smaller goat than the boar goat, and the cost is going to be lowest $300 to upwards of $500. Now the feed to gain is going to be same as the other ones, 1/4 pound gain from 1 to 2 pounds of feed per day. Now the Nubian goat is going to be originating in England in 1895 through crossbreeding British goats with African and Indian or originated goat bucks. This is a multi-purpose livestock breed, meaning that it can provide milk, meat, and hide. The name Nubian, it comes from the northeastern Africa region. As you can see, the ears are very long and they droop close to its head. It has a Roman-shaped nose, and it has a very short and smooth coat. The colors, it can come in black, red, tan, and other color combinations in white. Now, the only thing about the Nubian is when I was doing my research, I could only find a lot about it being used for dairy production. It can be used for market production, but I guess that they just prefer to use it for dairy because it can produce more in that industry, but it can be used for market. Now the weather temperament, it is tolerant of hot climates, but it's not parasite resistant. So just something to keep in mind. The meat production, it can produce meat, but like I said, it's preferable for milk production. So it's multi-purpose unlike all the other breeds. So it's kind of like a jack of all trades, but it's not really known for meat production, more for milk or dairy production. The cost is going to be lowest for $150 to upwards of $1,000. That's pretty expensive. And the feed to gain, same as the other ones, a 1/4 pound gain from 1 to 2 pounds of feed per day. Now, in conclusion, the cheapest breed is going to be either the boar or the Spanish goat, because the set prices, like I stated, was going to be $300 to $500, and you're actually getting a good deal for a goat breed that looks very, very nice, very uniform, very pretty. The most expensive is going to be either the Myotonic and the Nubian, upwards of $1,500, $1,000. The meat production, boar and Spanish, they are the top breeds in the state for carcass value, but the Kiko, Myotonic, and the Nubian, they're still good for market. So, but boar and Spanish are they're like top tier. The boar and the Nubian, they're not as parasite resistant compared to the Kiko, Spanish, and Myotonic, but that can be fixed with crossbreeding and just adding that parasite resistance genetics into the offspring. Now, they can all handle extreme climates because most of them, they were bred in hot climates except for the Kiko goat, but the Kiko, they can handle extreme climates. So, now my recommendations is going to be the boar and the Spanish, because not only are they the most popular, they're the cheapest, they're the top in meat production, and when you crossbreed them together, they can be the most parasite resistant, alongside it being climate hardy or extremely tolerant of hot weather. So thank you so much for being here. The QR code that you see right here on the slide, you can actually scan it if you would like to view my technical report that I used to make this presentation. I think it's an interesting read. I worked really hard on the report, and again, it was so interesting to be able to research and learn more about these different breeds that are used in the state of Texas for market production, meat production. It was so much fun doing all of this. And I did use articles, online websites, and I also created a survey for market goat breeds to gather information on this presentation and report. Now again, thank you so much, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.